Kakadosh, good evening. We're starting with the Seder Hadorot on Parashat Vayeze. So we are already in the year 2185 to the creation of the world, 2185. Remember that Avraham Avinu was born in 1948 in the Hebrew calendar, just so we should understand. And this is now the year 2185. Yaakov ben Ayin Zayin Shana Betzeto Meretz Canaan. So Yaakov Avinu was 77 years old when he left Eretz Canaan to Beersheba. So all of a sudden Yaakov Avinu leaves, and Esav speaks to his son Eliphaz, Baseter, quietly, right, in hiding. Kachar becha, take your sword. You're going to run after Yaakov Avinu. You're going to pass him. You're going to make an ambush, and you're going to kill him in one of the mountains. To take everything that he has and come back. That's what Esav tells Eliphaz. Eliphaz ish mahir, yodea keshet. So Eliphaz was very, very quick, and he knew how to use his bow. Just like his father taught him. So Eliphaz was 13 years old at the time, okay? So here it says that it could be that he was 14, okay, but he was 13 years old at the time, right? Now remember, his uncle is 77 and he's 13, okay? So Eliphaz does exactly what his father commands him. He takes 10 people, which are the brothers of his mother. So he captures, he's going to ambush him by Eretz Canaan, Muli Shechem, right by Shechem, right? Which is actually very ironic to do with, again, we're going to see Shechem again, but this is where he was trapped, okay? So he takes out his sword. He withdraws his sword. He goes, what are you doing? You're coming, you're running after me with a sword. What's going on? Right, so he comes closer to Yaakov and he says, I can't go against my father. Take everything that you want. But don't kill me. Right? It's going to be tzedakah. All of a sudden he found favor in their eyes. They took everything, but then what happened? Right? They left him with nothing, penniless, but they didn't kill him. They went back to Beersheba to Esav. He was so upset. How could it be that he didn't kill him? Right? He said, what? We had mercy on him. So once he heard that, I'm not supposed to, that he told Yaakov, don't take a wife of the Canaanite. So he went to the house of Ishmael, his uncle. So he took another wife from the Ishmaelim. So he goes out and he goes to Haran. He goes to Har Moriah. So okay, that was the story with the dream. So the dream was a 2-second thing. All of a sudden it says that the Be'er was by Haran. There was a stone that you needed 40 people in order to pick it up, right? So he says, there's no water. Yaakov ben Bale Haran ben Ayin Zayin Shana, he was 77. So he comes, he's there for a month, and he tells him, tell me your wages. At the end of the day, you're working here. Tell me what you need. Fine. All of a sudden, Ever passes away. So if you remember, we already spoke about Shem passing away, okay? Because Shem passed away beforehand. Now it's Ever. That was the great-grandson of Shem. So he comes and he passes away, right? Ayin tet lechaye Yaakov. When Yaakov was 79 years old, Ever now passes away. V'rash shmona dorot. He saw 8 generations. V'yishma Yaakov ki met Ever v'yitatzev mod v'yispadu v'yitpel elav yamim ravim. So he went and he does a whole esped, a whole eulogy on Ever. Remember the Yaakov Avinu learned in the yeshiva of Ever. At the beginning, he was in the yeshiva of Shem. But then afterwards, when he was later on, it was in the yeshiva of Ever, because Shem already passed away. That's why when Rivka was pregnant, she went to yeshiva of Shem ve'Ever to ask, right, who was, right, what's going on with her pregnancy. But then it was written, who nitman bevet ever. It doesn't say nitman bevet Shem ve'ever, because Shem already passed away. So it's only in the house of Ever. Yes.
They chased him to where they found him.
To Shem.
Yeah. After he studied for 17 or 14 years.
Yes, that's what's coming out. After he studied for the 14 years.
And they didn't know where he was at that time?
No, they probably did know where he was at that time, but now what's going on, because there was a whole explanation that we learned last week, that what happened was he went to learn for 14 years, and then he came back. And he was there for one day. And then he got there in one day's travel. Okay? Fine. Now it says here like this. Okay, fine. He called him Reuel. Then afterwards he comes to Haran. And now, right, it says over here like this. He's going to start having children. So, fine. Here it says that Yaakov Avinu was 84 years old for the very simple reason that if he was 77 and he worked for 7 years, so he was 84, and the girls were 22 years old when they got married to Yaakov. That's what's brought down here. So they were 22 years old. Okay? Now, it says over here, then it just brings down the children, right? I'm going to skip this out because here there's a whole machlokot, exactly when were the children born and when did they actually pass away. So there's a whole thing here over here, exactly, Kafchet Tevet, Tetzai Nisan, like Mamash giving you the dates of the birth of all the children of Yaakov Avinu. And then I'm going to skip right away where it says as follows. Ba'et shilcha Rivka em Yaakov meretz Kenan devora v'niktau shnei anashim me'avdei Yitzchak Yaakov Harana sheyashuv lebet aviv. So all of a sudden what happened is that during this time, after Yaakov Avinu, we're fast forwarding and he's already working for many, many years, she comes and she sends Meneket Rivka, she sends her servant to, this is the Devorah, to Yaakov Avinu to tell him to come back home. So it already finished the 14 years. So what happened was that he told him, no, he's going to work for another 6 years. So he already worked for the 14 years, and his mother already called him to come back. They went back to Arza Canaan. So he comes and he starts having all these animals. This is during the 6 years that he's actually working. Now it says, after the 6 years, Tzadik Zayin Yaakov. So Yaakov Avinu was already, right, 97 at the time. Because again, he was 77, 63 during the time of the Berachot, 14 years in Yeshiva Shem Ve'ever, 77. He worked for 7 years, he got married at 84. Another 7 years, right? So 84 and 7, 91. And then another 6 years that he worked for the sheep and all the money, that's 97. So he says over here, go back to your house. So she steals, Rachel steals the terafim, the idols, in order that he doesn't know where did Yaakov run away to. In order that he doesn't, start snitching, where did they go? So what are the terafim exactly? This is also brought down, if I remember correctly, in the Ramban. He says, Lochim Adam Bechor. They take a human being that he's a Bechor. Veshochtim oto. They slaughter him. Yeah, so they take a Bechor, they slaughter him. Mortim Rosho, right? Umolchim Arosh Bemelach. They come, they take off they skin the head, and they salt it in salt. Moshchin B'Shem, and they put it in oil. Velochin Nuach Lechoshet Zahav, and then they take a piece of wood or of copper. Vekotvin Alav Shem, and they write a name on it. Venotnim Aluach Tachal Leshonod, and they put this piece of block underneath its tongue. Again, there's a tongue of a human being, but it was a Bechor before. Right? Malikin Nerot Lefanav, they start lighting candles in front of it. Umishtachavin Lo, and they start speaking to it. And it speaks everything, whatever according to because of the name that was written there. It's called black magic. Yeah? The dead, the Bechor, yes. Ooh, the good stuff. Yeah? So it starts speaking in the future. Right? So nobody's saying that it doesn't exist. That's why she stole it. She stole it purposely, but she knew what she was doing. ויבוא אל לבן אל ביתו, והיא לא מצאת יעקב. So Lavan comes to his house, he doesn't find Yaakov. וילך אל הטרפים הברית האחרים, וישאל בהם, ויגידו לו, כי ברח יעקב לאביו. So what happened? He couldn't find his trafim either. So he goes to another set of trafim. Yeah, and they tell them, Yaakov Avinu ran away. וירוץ אחריו, so he runs after him. וכאשר שב לבן לארצו ומהר וישלח את באור בנו, בן 17 שנה, ואמו אביחרף באור בנו. Right, this is interesting. Beor beno, Beor was a son. So Bilam ben Beor was coming. That's what, if you remember, there's a whole, Yonatan ben Uziel, that Lavan is Bilam. According to this explanation, it could be it was the grandson. Because if Beor was his son, so Bilam ben Beor is the grandson. Okay? So it says here he was 17 years old. ואמו אביחרף בן עוץ בן נחור, ועמהם 10 נשים, וילכו ויעברו דרך לפני יעקב, ויבואו בדרך אחר ארץ השעיר, they went to, ויבואו לעשו. And they came to Esav, ויאמרו לו, כה אמר אחיך וקרוביך, ואחי אמך לבן בן בתואל לאמור, השמעת אשר עשה לי יעקב אחיך, אשר בא אליי רום וריק, יצאתי לקראתו, והבאתיו לביתי בחבו וגדלהו, והבאתי לו 2 בנותיי, ושתי שפחותיי, וברך עליהם אותי. He went and he sent his men to Esav. And he tells Esav, you know what your brother did to us? Your brother came to us empty-handed. Nothing. Yaakov had nothing. I went out to him, I gave him kavod, I gave him my daughters, I gave him maidservants, I gave him everything. And then all of a sudden, he runs away and he steals my gods. I left him in Nachal Yabok. If you want to go get him there. Yeah, this is what Lavan's sending in order to get Esav to get him. Right? There you're going to find him. Do whatever you want. He was very angry with Yaakov. He wanted to do. Esav quickly came. He took 60 people with him. 340 people. So he went and he divided them into 7 different parts. So then he comes, he takes his children, everything, and he gives them in the hands of Beno, his Bechor, Eliphaz. Then he comes and he divides the entire groups. So all of a sudden they come to Rivka. And they tell Rivka, look, Esav's going to Yaakov with 400 men. But Rivka quickly comes. ותשלח מעבדי יצחק 72 איש לקראת יעקב, ויפגשהו בדרך הנחל, מעבר לנחל יבוק, ויאמר יעקב, כאשר המחניים, זה עמדה לי מאת אלוקים. That's why he called it Yaakov. So he realized what was going on. So he says, ויקד יעקב גם שאביו, וישק להם, וישאל אל אביו, he starts asking what's going on with everyone. So he says, what, did you hear who's coming to greet you? ראה מה תעשה. ובבואו לך, תתחנן לו, אל תדבר אליו קשות. He says, be very careful, speak with him nicely, don't speak harshly. ותן לו ברכה מאשר תמצא ידך. Give him a ברכה from what you have. והיה כי ישאלך על כל דבריך, והודותיך, אל תסתר ממנו דבר. Don't start hiding things. אולי ישום אחד, maybe he's going to calm himself down. כי עליך הדבר לגדלו, כי הוא אחיך הגדול. Because at the end of the day, you have to make him great, because he's your older brother. ויהי כשמרו דברי אמו, when he hears the words of his mother, ויישא קולו, ויבך בכי גדול, he starts crying. ויעש כאשר ציוותו אמו. He went and he did exactly like his mother's commanded, וישלח מלאכים אל עשיו, and that's next week's parasha, וישלח. So now we actually found out exactly how it happens, because all of a sudden it doesn't make sense. What's happening? The Esav is already coming to Yaakov Avinu in next week's parasha. What went on? So now you found out what happened. Lavan was the one that started that. He was instigator. He caused the entire balagan, and then you understand, like he's orchestrating this entire thing all behind.